Hi, everybody, and happy 2026. It's a new year, and this is my new show. My name is Jill Langham. I'm also known as the Dancing Queen of Palm Springs, and I'd like to welcome you to this show that I'm calling From the Inside Out. And we're going to be talking about authenticity, and I'm going to be inviting lots of members from our community onto the show to talk about how it is they've come to be in Palm Springs, just what they're contributing to the community, and for us to have conversations about things that I think are being lost in today's world. As much as I have a fake hair piece on, this really is about being authentic, and I'm going to explain a little bit more about that later on. But today, I'd like to welcome to my set my friend Alan Carvello,
Thank you.
and so glad that you're able to join me.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and to you as
It's
well.
exciting to see you again.
Exactly. We haven't seen each other for a couple of weeks, and now we're
We're
starting
back.
we're starting fresh.
We're starting
Exactly.
fresh. Great.
Exactly. So I was wondering if you would be kind enough to tell us a little bit about yourself,
Right.
just so we can get to know you better.
Sure. I've been in the Valley for about 15 years, full time. I am a filmmaker,
Uh-huh.
and I've been doing that for about over 40 years.
Oh,
In
wow.
Boston, I moved here, which I was thrilled about.
Uh,
Northeast is very snowy, and north and southwest, of course, is the opposite, which
yes.
is great. Um, I got very involved in the community because I am a filmmaker and a video person. And because I'm retired, I donate a lot of my time to nonprofits. So I'll videotape their event and not charge them. But I use
Oh,
it as a write-off, so I can use it in like, in tax
how
as an
generous
in-kind
of
tax
you.
donation, which is great.
That's
So
beautiful.
everybody's loving it because they like my work, and I'm loving the opportunity to work with community leaders, a lot of, like I said, nonprofits. So and then of course meeting you at the gym, which is something, if you told me 5 years ago that I would be involved in working out every week, I would have told you you've got the wrong person.
Wow, so this is not something that you've been like a lifelong.
No way.
Wow.
No way.
Wow.
A
And
friend of mine who was
yes.
at the gym said, "You really should work out." I'm like, kind of an insult. I should work out. Like, what's wrong with me? Wrong. It was not what he said. What he said was, I was at the time in my late 60s.
I was just
I
gonna
turned
ask you that age.
72 last month. And he said, "You will feel so amazing." I'm like, it's such a pitch. It's like, guy, what are you selling? And I
Right.
thought, are you selling gym memberships? Are you getting a kickback? But it turned out, and as you know,
Hmm.
amazing how much energy I feel.
Well, first of all, you look incredible.
Thank you.
72. I mean,
Thank
you
you.
should
Well,
be
you
so
too.
well,
Look at us.
just we are definitely the new kids on the block.
We are not the 70s that were when we were
Oh
kids.
my
If you
gosh.
think about our grandparents at this age, you'd
Yeah.
be like, no.
No.
Yeah, it's
No.
quite
Well,
different.
and this is really so much of what I want to get into is the fact that we are taking great care of ourselves. The gay community is known
Hmm.
for, the love of the body for
No
many
question.
reasons,
Sure, of
and
course.
and it's such a healthy thing. We can take anything to an extreme, and we certainly know people sometimes that do or have.
Hmm.
But for the most part, everyone in the gym,
Yeah,
now called Steel Gym,
right.
where I've been a trainer for 20 years,
Wow.
I've seen so many people change their lives. As you said, having energy. They're like, I have more energy now than I did when I was in my 40s. It's
I
really,
vouch for that for sure.
yeah.
And again, I'm a real proponent for the working out, not to bodybuild. I'm not interested in
Mhm,
bodybuilding, but I just think that there's a focus that you're in. There's like a Zen focus when you're at
mhm,
the
mhm.
gym. Plus, the gym is such a loving space. I
Oh
mean,
my
it's
God.
not just a place it's not like a chemistry lab where you're working on your body.
Mhm.
It's so friendly, as you know, it's so engaging. People really are interested in each other. They really want to know how we're doing and how we're feeling.
Well, it's amazing too because many men that come into Palm Springs are interested in working out, and our gym has been that drawing card for the 23 years I think that it's been
Right.
around.
Yeah.
So my luck turned out that most every guy that came into town stopped in at the gym. So when I would then show up at the grocery store, at Wang's back in the
Right.
day, at Tropical when we went
Right.
there,
Right. Right.
et cetera, and they're like, "I see you everywhere." And then that night we'd see each other on the dance floor, so it was just the community is so strong
It
here,
is
and
very strong.
I
Yes.
personally feel so grateful to have the opportunity to get to know so many people through the gym.
Yeah.
Um, curiously, you said you weren't a person who worked out. Were you in any other sports of any sort
I
or
was
bike
not. I mean,
rider?
I walked a lot and I
Oh,
love
okay.
bike riding. So I did that, but some running, but
Okay.
not anything like working out with weights.
Right, right.
Not interested. Never interested in becoming a bodybuilder. I knew that people, if they're committed to 3 or 4 hours a day
Mm,
sometimes.
mhm.
So I'm like, yeah, I had such a warped sense of what it was like to go to the gym.
Well, and it's funny too. I'm just going to make it, it's kind of like a picayune thing to say, but I actually believe you are bodybuilding. You're building your body at the gym. So I want to think that because people say, well, I don't want to be a bodybuilder,
Right,
which is what I said to my husband is I do want to be a bodybuilder,
right.
never thinking it was even a possibility.
Wow.
But I think that when people dedicate whether it's 1 hour, 2 hours, I personally do an hour of cardio followed by an hour of weight training, and I do that 5 days a week, and
Wow.
twice on the weekend I do cardio. But that's actually considered overtraining.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Really?
when we were competing, I started competing at age 45
Wow.
back in 2000, and my trainers, we went for 1 hour 3 times a week of strict bodybuilding. It was 6 times a day that I was eating food, which I had never done before.
Wow.
And I then at that point, because they were trying to get some extra fat off of me, I was doing cardio once in the morning and once in the afternoon.
Hmm.
So it was at about 2 hours and 2.5 hours, 3 days a week. And then I used to dance all weekend, so I had more fun and
Yeah.
cardio. But it is interesting. Things are changing, and you'll see a lot of people who are there 5 and 7 days a week. But you probably have heard this old statement: it's when your body's at rest that it grows.
Yes.
And if you continually keep charging, 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 you're not really going to get the results that you're
Right.
looking for. And again, you said you don't want to be on stage per
No.
se, but you are building your body. And I
You're right.
just
That
want
is
to make that point
Yeah,
as a
that's good.
personal
It
trainer.
is
So
true. You're right,
um,
and it's good to be corrected because
just
it is bodybuilding per se. But
it
the
is.
thing is that it it's beyond, and because you're a billboard example of
It's kind of
what
you.
success comes from working the body, and just how I feel psychologically because I've gone
Mm.
through some depression, and yet that really has helped the endorphins,
Oh yeah,
plus the
that's
sense of
very
self
real.
image. All of these things kind of come together to give me a stronger sense of myself. And you work out, you're like, oh God, I don't want to work out. It's like, but I've got a great trainer
Yes, you do.
and he
Yes, you
works me through, and I am unconscious. I think I call it in. I know I work hard,
do.
but
Right.
if you asked me what I just did, I wouldn't be able to tell you or
So
what machine. I'm zoning. He does the weights, putting
right,
the weights on the machines.
right,
He tells me what to do. And of course, it's automatic. We're chatting the whole time while
right,
it's working out the whole time. We are not stopping.
right.
And it's like, I'm done. It's an hour goes by. You're like, how did that happen?
That
We
is true.
just
That's
got here.
wonderful to hear that
It's
you have that
true.
going on
And
with
even
him.
though you're socializing, it's a quick hello and you just stay with it.
Correct.
So
Well,
I'm like, wow, how did that even happen? It's the thing that I think most of us dread is it's a whole hour of torture, but it's
and it's not
not.
at
It's
all.
really
No.
not. And I was the first person to say, this isn't for me. I will never be that person. But look, here I am.
So, question: since you brought the topic into the conversation, depression. Do you mind talking a little bit
Not at all.
about
No.
what was happening?
During COVID, a lot of us went through some psychological changes because we're both very social people.
We are.
We thrive on being social.
Hmm.
It's our DNA.
Hmm.
So
It is.
when we were required to keep a distance, it's like it was the law. You had to keep yourself safe.
Hmm.
So you had to have masks and you had to make sure that you were by yourself a lot of the
Yes.
time. So that alone forced many of us to think and not socialize because sometimes socializing is an escape. We don't have to think about ourselves. We're just always involved in other people.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I was starting to get in a very negative reflective stage,
Hmm. Hmm.
going through childhood stuff, remembering having recalls, and just saying, wow, when is the COVID over? Because I'm like ready. And the Zooms weren't just making it, the Zoom calls trying to be social. It's just the contact, it's the reaching out, the hugging.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
So that's when it started.
And do you remember what month or what year? Because then we started
It
in
was
2020 March.
it was within 6 months of the close down of the
Okay.
cities was when I started to notice. And I had a friend that turned me on to the gym, and he said, you just need some distraction. I'm like, yeah, I'm ready for that. So
Mhm.
he was working and needed some help because, again, social distancing, we would wear masks, and I would help him run errands and do things that he needed to do with his job.
Mhm.
So as a result, I got busy. I like, oh, I can handle this now. I'm not as closed off. So I did that, and it started to make a little bit of a difference. But then I still was kind of avoiding some of the things that I was going through,
I got you.
childhood trauma, trauma bonding, all of these things that happened. So I started to seek therapy, Zoom therapy, because we weren't
Oh,
able to
okay.
meet. But
Yes.
that
Yes.
really helped me. But it was very deep seated. I'm a very positive person. Everybody thinks I'm on crack or something because I'm so high energy,
You are very high
and
energy.
so
It's
they think, oh,
wonderful.
that guy's on major caffeine or whatever. But I don't. I'm not. It's just no. You're the
Mhm.
same way. We're very high energy people. We get off on each other.
Yeah, definitely.
So that forced me to not deal with some of these demons.
Mhm.
I was kind of like busy, 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 but then I'm not busy. And
Mhm.
that's when things started to creep up. So it was so very self reflective, relying too much on the approval of others,
Mhm.
which was happening less because there was COVID, but
Yes.
just noticing that I was a people pleaser, and that a lot of us are. We thrive on getting approval. We want people to like us. We want people to want to be around us. We want to be that, be physically attractive, emotionally, and
Mhm.
sexually. All of these things we
Guilty as
just
charged.
right
Yes.
exactly.
Yes.
So we want that validation, but I spent too much time expecting it from outside of myself.
Correct.
So it's really a matter of loving myself. It's a learning process for me.
Well, thank you so much for, first of all, sharing that with us. But I was in exactly the same boat, exactly for the reasons you said.
Is that
I
right?
I've never had trouble. I have a beautiful home. I love being home by myself. I can self-entertain. But all of a sudden, there wasn't the balance of stay at home, go
Right.
to work, go out. There
Yes.
was no work. There was no going out. I
Right.
had a little work on the side, but
Right.
nothing to
Right.
speak
Right.
of. And so I too got involved with Zoom therapy.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was in October of 21.
Mm.
But I was miserable. Anyone that knew me from January of
Right.
21 until I got into therapy, it just was a downhill cycle. And I know that millions,
Oh,
hundreds of millions of people around the world were experiencing a similar thing. But so, in did you can just continue with the Zoom? Did that
I
become
did
enough, or
until
did
I'm
you?
still doing Zoom with my
As
therapist.
am
Strangely
I.
enough, it's sort of
Never met
yeah.
her.
We just I was there right there. So yeah, I actually
Never.
have met her, but you're right, I have. It's just convenient.
Oh,
I
it's
can't go the
yeah.
distance, or it's just or
Cor-
she can't make it to the office. We can just do that.
right.
But I'm still seeing the same therapist. It's been because we've had so much history. It's really easier to talk to her about these
Sure.
things.
Sure.
But yeah, I realized I did need the therapy and I needed the meds. And
Oh,
I
nice.
never before 5 years ago I took a vitamin. I didn't take anything for my heart or blood pressure or
Oh,
thinning or any of the blood thinning, any of that. I
wow.
just never did it. I go
Wow.
to the doctor and say, well, what's the medication? And I'm like, I don't take anything.
That's how
And they're like, wow, what a
wonderful.
blessing. But then
Yeah.
again, I realized I'm being checked, but I need some meds, especially for psychological
Uh-huh.
issues. So I got those, and those have been really helpful.
That's
And now, of
wonderful.
course, I'm on cholesterol medication, and at 72 years old, you just start to realize
Yeah.
that you have to
Yeah.
do and testosterone therapy,
Yes.
which is great, not for working out or overdoing it. Estrogen is what women take as you get older, and the
Absolutely.
testosterone is what
Again,
men would be
women
taking.
take testosterone as well.
Absolutely. So it's a
So,
matter of
mhm.
realizing that as you get older, this is going to provide more energy. And so it has. So yeah, I've been a big advocate for people to get their mental health in check.
Love that.
It's really important, especially like you said during COVID.
Oh my
I think
gosh.
loners were happy that finally everybody's like me. We're all
No,
alone
there's a
and
lot to
we
be
like it
said for
that way.
no, absolutely.
But those that are social, we like our alone time.
Yeah.
But it was just,
It
we
was
had
a
no
balance.
choice.
So yeah,
It
we
wasn't
did.
like you
We
can
did.
choose to go out and club, but this was no choice. You're not
No,
going clubbing anywhere because there's nobody. First of all, the clubs are
there were
closed
the
and there's
clubs.
nobody else that's going to be there with you.
Right. And when they finally did open them, you had to wear a mask inside.
Yeah.
I had shaved my head. I didn't even look like myself. Although the funny part is, I'm so used to having a shaved head from that period of time that I wanted to mention the reason I ended up shaving my head just December 1st, so a
Right.
little over a month ago, was I found out that I have an iron deficiency that was not noted from the typical blood test that we have,
Huh.
but there's a specific test that I really want to talk to my audience about It's called ferritin. The
Oh,
word tin on the end kind of has that whole metallic
right, right, right.
sound. And ferritin tells you how much stored iron you have in your body for the body to utilize during cellular processes. Like magnesium, which is now one of the biggest things people are replacing on a daily basis, 700 cellular functions need the presence of magnesium. That's a lot of that's a lot of cellular
Massive.
activity. I don't
Wow.
know how many iron, how many molecules or whatever that iron needs to be present, but mine normal ranges, I believe, is from 60 to 90. Mine had always been around 80, no problem. And I was always having it tested 4 times a year. And somehow back in 2000, right around this whole crazy time, one of these tests got knocked off of my blood test, and neither myself or my doctor realized we were no longer testing it. Well, the last time they did it in 2000, it had dropped to 50, so it was now below.
Right.
Okay, the last 5 years has been the least energetic that I have been in a very, very long time.
Wow.
And I kept saying, well, you're almost 70. I was
Right.
finding myself falling into this ridiculous conversation because I don't even believe that.
Right.
But I was like, well, you are 70. Long story short, I happened to mention it to my last doctor, new person. We took the test in the beginning of November. I got the results back. It was now 11. And how this has to do with my hair is that one of the things that can happen with an iron deficiency, not aging,
Right.
is you start to lose your hair around the temple
Oh, I
area
didn't know
first.
that.
And then it was coming out in patches of little circles. And I
Wow.
kind of looked like a doll that some
Oh,
kid had
wow.
been put. And I
Yeah.
was like, that looks awful. And when I came back from that last
Right.
cruise that I was
Yeah.
on, I kept saying, I feel like I'm seeing my scalp through
Wow.
through my hair. And I've
Sure.
never even had that thought before. So sure enough, I went to the doctor and they said, "Oh no, you've got like 17." And I could actually had some pictures.
Wow.
You can actually see them. I'll share
That's
them with you.
amazing.
And so they said it takes about 6 months before of iron therapy before the hairs go from little fine, little skinny little hairs to a full grown
Oh, that's
adult hair.
interesting.
And I
Wow.
thought, well, why look
Yeah.
crazy, for the next 6 months? So I'm going to do the big reveal.
Which
I just went ahead and decided
I
that I
love it.
was going to shave my head
They're perfect.
and
Look
be
amazing.
the authentic me.
I love it. I love it. I
Thank
love it.
you.
It's perfect.
But people, because I unfortunately we know too many people who have lost their hair from chemotherapy.
Right. True.
Someone actually asked me if I was going to be a monk since I had just gotten back from
Oh, that's
Southeast
so
Asia,
funny. I
and I
love
was
that.
like, "Well, that's a new
Perfect.
one."
Yeah, that would be a
Yeah,
real new one.
but rather than have any crazy accusations or things going around,
Yeah, of
I'm
course.
very, very healthy. I just
Good.
needed to up my iron.
But that's
So,
kind of cool because you look amazing and
oh,
you've done this before you am I right? The
I
last time you shaved your head, it
yes.
wasn't health issue
No, it
related.
was. I've always wanted to do it, and I thought, well, what better time than COVID when I
Of
may not see
course.
anybody
Right.
for a
True.
year?
True. A lot of people grew their beards
They
during
did,
that. Yeah. So
and
it's
now
the
I
same
think
thing.
a few people I would to encourage to maybe cut the beard off.
Right.
Just
Right.
saying, I
Yeah,
just
I understand.
because some of these guys are
And
so
not,
clean and
yeah.
handsome, but they
Yeah.
just
I
need
know
to.
they cover them. They're covering
Yeah,
it up.
but
It's, yeah.
that's for
Right.
another topic.
Sure.
But I also wanted to ask you too about the use of AI. If first of all, is it something that you believe in? Do you use? Um,
I think like anything else, it's useful if it's not abused. And
Totally
I
agree.
think that we're in a world that that's just part of reality. We really can't avoid it.
No,
We can decide whether we want to have it enhance our lives or
correct.
have it work against us. Because I'm in the film business,
That's
it's
what I wanted to ask.
very prominent.
Yes.
A lot of the movies with special effects, and there's so many of them, have been using AI forever before
Hmm.
they called it AI.
Hmm.
Special effects,
Right. Right.
CGI, which
Hmm.
is computer generated images
Oh,
that looks like a building's on fire
right.
or
Right.
whatever it is, a monster's coming over the cliff. I mean, these kinds of things we've been blessed with the technology, and when you watch a movie, you have no idea how it's so realistic.
Right.
So yeah, the AI process, when not abused, can be very helpful for me. Photographers are using it. I mean, everybody is using AI. It's part of it's in our DNA now. So,
It
but
truly is.
I embrace it. I think as a tool, it can be useful. When it starts replacing people, when
Oh,
people's jobs start getting replaced,
yeah.
when actors are no longer needed in a movie because they're using an AI image,
Yeah.
see, that
That's
to me is where the union has to step in and say, yeah, you know something, enough is enough.
right. Right. And I think that is true with everything, but this
It's true.
this
Yeah.
absolutely.
And there, yeah. I
I
mean,
I
you're in a business that people,
well,
your business is never going to be, won't be replaced.
no, not true, actually. I have to be
Really?
honest with you because there's got to be 10 million people who are doing exercise videos and people
Okay.
take them
Yeah.
to
I
the
guess that's
gym.
true. You're right. You're
And
right.
listen, a self-starter, self-learner, if
Sure.
they're being taught by someone who is in the know, not some 20-year-old kid,
True.
not to put anybody down here, but you've not lived life. I'm sorry.
Right.
I have gone through so many things. We've talked about many of
Sure.
these things before, but my point about the AI was to say I have found because I was really against it at first. I just was like, no, no, no. These
Right.
kids need to figure out who they
True.
are. They
True.
don't need somebody writing a paper. At
That's
least,
true.
even if I was copying something, out of a book, I still had to write every
That's
single word.
true.
There was not even a typewriter at the time,
Correct.
so I was learning, even though
Yeah.
it was, not what we were taught to do. But where I'm coming from now is that I have found it so helpful starting with this iron deficiency
Mm.
because I thought, well, there's so many iron products out there. What would be the best for this particular type of situation, hair loss? And out of that, I've ended up putting all my supplements into ChatGPT and am finding said, when should I be taking these things? How long is there foods I should not be eating?
Wow. Yeah.
I was making so many mistakes of things I've been taking for 25 years. And
Wow.
I was like, wow. Well, then I found myself saying, hey, by the way, since I've been 7, I had an eating disorder. I've spent a lot of time, correcting it, but I was both anorexic and bulimic.
Wow.
How does this fit in with what the symptoms that I'm having now? The next thing I know, 2, 3, 5 weeks later, they're going, oh, because you suffer from inflammation due to the fact that you had an overworked digestive system from all this, things that I was doing when I was younger. Don't take this product because it's going to cause more inflammation and you already suffer from it. I'm thinking, okay, I got to be honest with you, and no disrespect to anyone doctor out there. I don't think any doctor is going to remember what he read the first time in my chart,
Right.
7, 10 years down the road.
Wow.
So I am fascinated now in encouraging people, think of it as a mother if they had a good role model, or
Right.
if they didn't,
Right.
someone who's going to support you. They don't tell you, oh, you're a complete idiot for
Right.
thinking this.
Right.
They're
Right.
like, wow, that might not have been the best choice. They're saying it
Mm.
in a loving way. It's kind of what you'd want a best friend to do who
Right.
might say to you, dude, get with the program.
Right.
But they, again, do it. They're confronting, but they're
Right.
saying, I know you're trying to take care of yourself. However, this is not going to accomplish that.
Wow.
So that's powerful.
Very
And
powerful.
again, not to replace our online Zoom
Right.
therapists who I adore,
Sure.
but I'm realizing there's such a value just starting with the way you take care of yourself. Then let's figure out the other stuff as you go along.
Right.
So I was just curious. I know in your business it is used all the
Oh,
time,
it's
and
used all the time.
um,
Well, when you think about the ideal AI, it's a combination of all knowledge
right,
in the whole world.
right,
So when you have doctors from all over, from the Mid East, from the Southwest, I mean, from
yes,
the
yes.
the East Coast, the West Coast, wherever
Western
you've got
medicine,
the
Eastern, yes,
knowledge
yes,
coming
correct.
at you, and they combine all the knowledge to give you the best answer to your question.
And I think that's really a gift. As I said, everything needs to have for me, it's about, I'm going to grab your hands for a moment.
Sure,
It's about the human touch. To me,
absolutely.
we can't lose
See,
this.
that will never be replaced.
And although I think the way, if you think about it, you can sit at home, you can order in anything you want,
True.
food, clothing, sex,
Yeah, yes, you
um,
can.
religion,
Right. No,
whatever
it's
you can.
true. You can.
So you don't have to leave your house.
Right.
You don't have to even, they've got the AI, I don't know if they're called dolls, whatever those fake doll, whatever that you can bring to your house and have sex with. There's
Right.
a
Right. Right. Right.
for
Right.
certain people, they could never leave their home again.
True.
Human
True.
touch will be lost.
Yeah, that's
And
scary
just
because
like the kids today who are sitting at a table
yeah,
texting, they can't even look in each other's eyes
at the same table,
at the
they're all
same
sitting around the
table.
same table on there texting each other.
Yes, and I've seen families do it. I've
Yeah.
seen families. The mother's on shopping, the
Yeah.
father's talking to some stock guy, the
I
other
know. You're
kids are
right.
doing.
You're right.
So I'm saying I do fear. I feel like we have to keep reminding, just like dancing and holding someone,
Totally.
you know, whether you're on, alcohol or some drug or whatever,
Right.
but to have that.
the
human
human touch,
connection to
yeah, the
me
contact.
is what authenticity is really all about. And that's really what I want to remind
That's an important.
us
It's very important to
of.
remind people of that, because I don't. They say that when a child is born and baby, they did an experiment. They noticed that they would leave one baby for, like, I think it was a week. They did this because it would be torture.
Right.
They would leave one baby with no human contact, and the other baby would get touched all the time. And they noticed the healing process, the sense of self, the sense of happiness was spread by the touch. And so I do
Totally.
think that that's a child example of an infant, but we're all that way. I
Oh
just
my
think
god.
that,
Oh,
and I that's
yes.
the beauty about being in a gym, where you can certainly get a machine to regulate how you work out
Right.
and keep track of your push-ups, but the human experience, that's, I know they're thinking about having robots that are so human-like that you can get all that, but there's something about the soul that can't be
Oh,
replaced.
please.
Right.
Hopefully never.
Right.
Yes.
And so that's a very, and we all can tell the difference.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I was recently chatting with somebody online, just chatting about things, and they started saying things like, you're really an interesting guy. I could fall in love with you. I'm like, well, that's really sweet. What a nice thing to
Right.
say. It ended up that they were starting to really show a lot of interest, never having met each other. Two weeks later, they were scammers. They're
Uh,
scammers. They know
oh
exactly what you want. They
yeah.
say it's almost like computer generated. The texting was tremendous. Everything you
Yes.
want to hear. Oh my God, you're so, because you're exactly what I'm looking for, and I like that you're in your 70s. I'm like, oh God,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wow, I could tell. But I played. I
Okay.
played
Yeah.
it.
Well, good
I
that you
played it
knew
because I knew it,
because.
because there was something about being told
uh,
you're really attractive and I like your energy. Who doesn't want to hear that?
Well, the thing is, I'm the type of person that would actually say that to another person. So when someone does say something like that back to me, I'm like, well, I finally found the person I can do this with, only to find out that it was a catfish or an
It's
AI or a
amazing, and
bot
I
or
knew it. I could,
whatever.
especially when they started asking for money. Like, how much?
Well, yeah.
The minute there's your, and I'm like, let me work on that, because I didn't want to lose it. I wanted to. Then I ended up calling the FBI.
Oh, good
I
for
did.
oh,
Yeah,
I
no, I
look
got
at
all
you.
the information,
Oh
and I
my
said,
God.
this is something that needs to be reported, because other people are going to be
Great.
victimized by it.
Oh,
I
no,
mean,
no, no. Thank
hundreds of
you.
thousands of dollars is
Oh,
stolen from people, because you feel like we are talking now. It feels real.
right.
It feels like, they really have expressed. They wake me up at 6 in the morning saying good morning. Like,
Wow.
who doesn't want? That's what a best friend does.
And
So,
that's,
and you're
yes,
like, what?
yes.
Psychologically, you're thinking, this is really kind of exciting. And I even told my therapist, I said, I'm going through this thing, and she said, well, be careful with the money. I'm like,
They're
I
never
said,
going to get a cent from me.
they will not get a cent.
Yeah.
But I said, I have to tell you something. I've been married for a long time. I've been married for over 50 years. And in spite of the fact that I love my husband, there's an intimacy that comes from falling in love,
Oh my
that
gosh.
startup. And
100%.
I'm feeling from a robot, or
Right.
from this
Right.
virtual boyfriend,
Right. Right.
that this feeling of like, wow, and
Yes.
getting charged up. So in spite of the fact that I knew it was a scammer,
Right.
I'm like, I'm enjoying the process until the FBI steps in. I'm like,
Exactly.
thank you. You're providing me with a livelihood that I'm just enjoying like an actor on
Oh,
stage.
that's
It's sort of
hysterical.
a funny thing that I made
I
it work for me.
I love
So
that.
it's like so. And then it happened again like 2 weeks later. I think I
Wow.
might have been the same person
Yeah.
using different, and of course the pictures are perfect. And they
Oh
never
my
want to
gosh.
text.
Yeah.
They never want to do a live video with
Right.
you. They
Right.
never want to call you. It's like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my phone camera's broken. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Right, of
sure it
course
is.
it is. Yeah.
That's,
Just a
how
second.
does that happen? How do you break a
Oh
phone's
my God.
camera?
That's
So
so
it's like,
funny.
but you play. So as long as you're aware of it,
Well,
you're in
again, I
control.
think that comment I made about the AI being your best friend or your mom or
Right.
whatever
True.
person you see as a support system, but that's completely different because you are the one inputting the information.
Correct.
It's a one-on-one. But when it gets to these dating apps, those people, I'm so glad you turned the person in or the persons
Yeah,
or
no,
whatever
it's
they
just you
were.
have to, because otherwise they just keep.
Oh yeah.
And I even said to them, by the way, you need to know that everything I've said to you has been recorded, like all the text I've sent. And
Wow.
I knew it from the beginning who you were. So I played you too.
Oh, good
It
for
was like
you.
one of those things, like aha
Yeah.
moment. It's like,
Oh
yeah,
my
guess
God.
what? So I'm
Wow.
like, yeah, something, guys, don't do this anymore, because
Right.
you're getting caught.
Yeah.
I know, and I know you probably need the money. How desperate can you be? But you're toying with people's emotions. That's kind of a scary thing.
Oh, it's so sad
It's really
because
sad.
so many people, young and old, women and
We
men
fall prey to
have
this.
really gotten, they are prey to this, and it's a
Yeah.
terrible, terrible
It really is
situation.
because there are a lot of lonely people out there. So you're
Yes.
tapping them into that,
Yeah.
and they know that.
They
They
all
know that. They
that's why
know
they're
that
doing it.
exactly. They
Yeah.
have a formula
Yeah.
that they know they can work on. Especially when
Yeah.
you start saying, "Wow, thank you for saying that." They're like, "Oh, good."
Now they're hooked. Yeah,
Immediately,
right. They know.
you've been
They got
hooked. But I
exactly.
knew from the beginning what this was about. I
You're
am.
smarter than me. That's what I
Well,
always
I don't
say.
know. I'm
No,
not.
I'm
It's happened
impressed.
in the past where I wasn't so smart, but you learn from your mistakes for
Yes,
sure.
you do. One last thing I just wanted to say, because you had talked about again your trainer, who is a good friend of mine. It's called being a personal trainer. It's right there in
That's true.
the name.
You're right.
I have to get up close and personal with you in order to understand you taking care of yourself from the inside out.
Right.
Thus the name of
Right.
my show. It's really about that. And so I hope that the personal trainers that are coming up in the world and those that exist right now will be reminded that this is a journey that someone's inviting you into their personal space, and it's an opportunity out. I tell my clients, do you have any issue with me touching different
Right.
parts of your
Sure.
muscles?
Yeah.
Because we do have some people that have been abused, and
Right.
touch is
Of
not
course. Of
okay.
course.
And as long as they have their okay, and I'll say to them, do you know what a muscle feels like when it's fully flexed? And they're like, either they do or they don't. And
Right.
so I'll say, when I'm in the right shape, I'll say, feel my muscle
Right.
here,
Right.
and then
Right.
I'll say, now let's get you to do the same thing. And most people have never been that inside of their body
Right.
before. They
Sure.
do not know. Someone, when I was younger, my older brother, it's just a crazy situation between two siblings, but he was trying to get me to do something, and he held my arms with his thumbs right on my biceps, and then
Yeah.
his fingers around, and we were in a hold, and he was telling me, go do this, and I kept saying, I'm not going to do it. I was really, really angry, and I had my arms at the
Wow.
sides of my body, and I was so intent on, like, he is not going to move me from this space, that when he let go of my arms floated up, that thing that we used to do as
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
But
Yes.
I had never seen this. I was like maybe 12 years old. I've never seen it before. I thought that he had paralyzed. I didn't
Right.
know. I
Sure.
mean, it was like, oh my God. But my whole point of this is I learned that day what it felt to have a flex muscle. And
Ah.
that almost became the beginning of my bodybuilding career. There's
Interesting.
always like that silver
Right. There's
lining.
some. Yeah.
But
It's
I'm telling you, for all the audience out there, flexing your body when you're sitting, just flexing your
right.
leg muscles,
Yeah.
you're squeezing your
Yeah.
glutes, if
Now that
it's
you mention it, I'm
exactly,
starting to do it.
exactly. We have a little lesson
Yeah.
learned here.
Exactly.
But anyway, I like I said, there's many things. I know that I'm going to have you back on the show
Well,
many
thank you.
times, and I'm so pleased. um, Ellen is helping me put this whole thing together, so it's my
Oh, I'm so
thanks.
thrilled. I'm thrilled that you're doing this
Thank you.
because we're blessed to have you
Oh,
local. You're just the energy that comes pouring out of you is
oh,
always so much fun.
I know.
And then you're going to share it with other people that may not be as fortunate to live in Palm Springs. So to
Well,
me, it's
that's
you have
lovely.
so much love and
Oh,
sharing and so much confidence and so much information that's important to share that
thank
I think
you.
is important. This is a great. I'm so happy to be part of
Oh,
your process.
well, thank
I really,
you from the bottom of my
of
heart.
course, me too.
And
Thank you.
audience, thank you so much for being with us today. And
Absolutely.
stay tuned. We'll be coming back shortly.